Welcome to the Nerd Party.
Maximum warp. Punch it. Punch it.
Punch it, Bishop!
Punch it.
Punch that shit!
Let's punch it.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to Punch It, episode 130. My name is Charlene Schmidt, and with me, as always, is...
Tristan Riddell.
Tristan Riddell, was your Twitter feed as inundated with Destination Star Trek information this weekend as much as mine was?
It was a lot. I wouldn't say it was dominated, but it was definitely heavily peppered.
That's a good way of putting it. Yeah, between political tweets and cat videos, I had a lot of Star Trek content in my feed this weekend. It was a lot to keep up with, but I got to give shout-outs to people who kept us informed, let us know what was happening on the other side of the pond, and maybe the most exciting thing to us was we're getting a new Catherine Janeway book out of it.
It's true, yes. That was the thing that stuck out the most to me, and I immediately sent you the picture and the tweet saying that this was announced, the Catherine Janeway autobiography. And I'm so excited because I haven't been in the Star Trek novel game in a long time. I honestly think the last Star Trek novel I read was the novelization of Star Trek 09.
Oh, wow. So that's 10 years ago now, by the way.
Yeah, and that's just a novelization. It wasn't even an original story. Like, when I was in middle school and high school, I just devoured tons and tons of Star Trek novels, but it just completely dropped off once I got older. And I'd love to get back into it.
Yeah, same. I mean, once I got into college, I didn't have time to do leisure reading. I was busy reading textbooks and trying to keep up with schoolwork and whatnot. But oh my gosh, I would harass my mother every week for $5 to go to Walden Books and get the newest Star Trek novel, and I would devour it in a weekend.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, like one of the books that I read growing up that I absolutely was obsessed with and that you and I have talked about at great length is Star Trek. Yeah, Star Trek Mosaic, which is kind of the unofficial biography of Catherine Janeway. It was written by Jerry Taylor, and it shows her backstory. It's growing up in Indiana, getting engaged twice, and like her relationship with her father, her sister, and just how she got Voyager and everything like that. It was just absolutely fantastic. And so I'm hoping that this biography about Janeway is kind of like a Mosaic Part 2.
Yeah, same. I've actually had people ask me, didn't we already get the Catherine Janeway story a la Mosaic? And I thought, well, sure, but there's more to Catherine Janeway's story that we don't know. Hello, post-Voyager?
Yes, seriously, think about it that way. This could be a huge data mine for events after they get home. I know that we still have some information because of the post-Voyager novels that have been going on.
Yeah, and you can debate how much those are canon, so it'll be interesting to see just how much the author, Una McCormick, puts from the novels into her book, and like, how official is this? I don't know, but it's going to be an interesting take nevertheless. Also, another thought that occurred to me is we were fans back in the 90s when Voyager was airing, when Mosaic came out. There's a whole new generation of fans out there who are discovering Voyager and all the other Star Trek shows for the first time. They probably have no idea that Mosaic even exists. So for them, this forthcoming book coming out next year is going to be the Catherine Janeway story.
Yes, and it also makes you wonder, because it's a biography, like, are they going to treat it like a part 2 where it's just like, listen, this is my biography, kind of just like the real Kate Mulgrew does, where she has a book that's about her birth and childhood, and then she's coming out with another book that's going to be focused more in, like her Voyager years and then later on and everything like that. And so how is Una McCormick going to be tackling this biography? Is it going to be a part 2 where it's post-Voyager and that's all it talks about? Or is it going to be like David Copperfield, where it's kind of like her birth, her childhood, her adolescence, and then Voyager, and then everything that came after. Or, and actually, I should say, and if she does that, is she going to draw from Mosaic, or is she going to come up with her own stuff?
I hope that she keeps what we got from Mosaic intact, and then it just becomes a kind of comprehensive, full-bodied book that goes into the past, but also goes into the future. So for those of us who have read Mosaic, yeah, it might be a little repetitive at first, but then when we get to the new stuff, hey, that's going to be fun.
And you and I are aware enough that we understand that anything and everything that's written can quote unquote be canon until it is contradicted on screen. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing, how it is with every single novel ever. Even with Star Wars stuff that is technically quote unquote canon, like all the new Star Wars stuff that's canon, even that stuff has been contradicted by stuff on screen just because of whether writing mistakes or miscommunication or whatever, or it was missed. Regardless, like, screen is always king. Screen is always king. But you and I have always had these two novels, Pathways and Mosaic, in a special place in our hearts, because with Mosaic, it was written by Jerry Taylor, and Jerry Taylor created Voyager and helped create the character of Janeway, and so she is very instrumental to Janeway just existing. I mean, she's the reason why Janeway exists.
Oh, absolutely. Janeway is her brainchild.
And because of that, we've always felt like Mosaic is the book. Like, that is the biography on Janeway until something is contradicted on screen.
Yes. Well, what was great was the fact that since Jerry Taylor was a showrunner and a co-creator of Voyager, a lot of what she put into Mosaic did get on screen, and therefore it is unofficially the official story of Catherine Janeway because it came from her. I think that's how it's generally regarded.
Right. If it wasn't Jerry Taylor, then I wouldn't be saying this. I would just be saying that Mosaic is a great book. Right. And if it gets contradicted, fine, whatever, that's how it is. But because it's Jerry Taylor who was instrumental in creating the show, like, somebody could give her a script with some backstory of Janeway and she'd go, no, I've already written that.
She's revising that. Yes, she is. And that is okay. She has that right. And it's her baby. So, yeah, kind of like what she says goes. I mean, in that day, anyway. Now, well, we're going to find out. I'm a little excited.
Now, just off the top of my head, this is I think we've gotten a fake biography of Kirk before, right?
Right, and Picard.
I've forgotten about that. I did not know that. So I guess they're making their way through the captains. I'm assuming that Sisko would be next. You'd think Sisko would come before Janeway.
Well, a lot of people made that comment, like, hey, where's Sisko? Probably forthcoming. I think maybe because Voyager's 25th anniversary is on the horizon next year. That's why they're releasing Janeway a little bit ahead of Sisko. Because they missed DS9's. So, sucks to be you, DS9. We're going to go straight to Janeway.
They got a great documentary. They'll be fine. They'll be fine.
Right? Yeah. What are you guys complaining about? Shut it.
So, okay, like, if you take away the captains, what's a biography that you would like to read of a Star Trek character? Any Star Trek character that's not a captain.
Well, you're going to agree with me entirely on this. I want to read William T. Riker.
Now, why William T. Riker? Did you say that just because I would agree with you?
No.
Or why?
No. Although I know you're on board with that. But no, that was the first person that came to mind for starters. But I want to hear about him growing up in Alaska. What was his childhood like? I want to hear about his daddy issues. I want to just get more a more detailed background on this character, because I feel like as much as we know, there's a heck of a lot we don't know. So what shaped this person?
I think that would be. I wanted to say that first, of course, but I was just like, that's too predictable. Like, I'll try to say something else. But
that's why I wanted to say it.
I appreciate it. With Riker, you definitely. There's a lot to mine there, with his childhood and losing his mother, having a difficult relationship with his father, and wanting to be the youngest captain in Starfleet, or something like that.
What made that drive?
What made that drive? And then, I know that we have gotten a book on this before, but like how he met Deanna and what was
Oh,
that
yeah.
like, and what was like a little bit more of their relationship that we got back during the Thomas Riker incident. Like we got a little bit more backstory there, but elaborate on that and things of that nature. And also, now that we know that he is in Star Trek Picard, get a little bit of the Titan years in
Certainly.
biographical form. Like, again, I know we have the novels, but like get it in biographical form. And
Yeah.
why did he leave, or did he actually leave? Is he just on vacation? Is he on a sabbatical in Star Trek Picard? We don't know. We
Yeah.
don't know. So it would be cool. I did think about that, but I wanted to shy away from saying Riker. I also wanted to shy away from saying anybody in Voyager because we got Pathways.
Sure.
We got such rich material in Star Trek Pathways, the novel. So my thing I think would be Kira would be really interesting.
Ooh. Yeah, that would be really good.
Growing
Also-
up in a camp
Ooh.
and everything like that.
Here's another idea: The Lives of Dax.
Ooh, that'd be
I'd
really
read that.
good. Yeah, that'd be really interesting. Now, would you want to say there's unlimited budget and time? Would you want to do a whole series like where one book is one life, or would you want to do one big book that was just a compendium?
Hey, with unlimited resources, give them all a book. They're going to probably vary in thicknesses, but you know what? Go for it. And honestly, that kind of ties into what our real topic is going to be about today. We're not just talking about books, but you had a great idea about animation, and we were trying to come up with our topic, right? And I was thinking animation too, because I got to give a shout out to somebody on Instagram who did a great little piece that it was Voyager animated. And I showed it to you, and we were both just kind of freaking out like, oh my God, this is so good. So you guys, if you're on Instagram, check out the username Crystal Art, Kristel Art. And she's got little pieces of Voyager animation that she made, and it's so good. Now, our topic at hand is, what if CBS created kind of like an animation subdivision of Star Trek and said, guys, have fun. Come up with a whole bunch of things. And we're going to come up with a whole bunch of things.
That's right. We're having this imaginary pitch session where an executive at CBS or a manager at Star Trek kind of comes into the room and says, hey, we're developing a whole wing of animation. And so you guys, it's your job to pitch us ideas of what animation projects you'd like to see. So there's no real restriction on this. It doesn't mean, when we say animation, it doesn't mean we have to come up with something like Bob's Burgers or something like anime. It could be anything that is, whether it's 3D or 2D, anything that's in that kind of medium, what would be good for Star Trek. And whether that's, like, we could do a feature-length film. We could do a 22-minute TV show, or we could do, like shorts or whatever we want to think about.
Right.
What would be fun to do in the realm of Star Trek utilizing only animation?
Yes. So the great thing about animation is you're not limited by special effects budgets. You,
To a certain extent.
I mean, within reason, though. But I mean, the practicality of doing that with a live action show is a little different than with animated, is what I mean.
Oh no, it's very different. I just wanted to say it's not like
Sure.
you can do whatever you want.
No. Also, makeup, same deal. You can have more aliens if you want. And age is not an issue because the characters can look however you want. Now, with those things in mind, what's the first thing that comes to your mind as to taking advantage of those things?
Well, the first thing that absolutely 100% popped into my head, because I've mentioned this before in the show, when Lower Decks was announced, we immediately started thinking about animation, but we didn't have an entire episode on it. I have always said that I would absolutely love to have a Star Trek version of what we got with Clone Wars and Rebels.
Okay.
With Star Wars. And it's this really great 3D CGI, and it's just like with Clone Wars, you had mini arcs. You had like 3-episode arcs, 4-episode arcs. Then you had different characters that you could go towards. Like the main characters were Anakin Skywalker and Obi-Wan and Ahsoka. Those were your main three, but you often didn't see them at all for very long periods of time because they went with people you've never heard of, or they would go back to people that you saw like last season or just even 6 episodes ago. And so is very much a great, because like the whole with the Clone Wars, it was set between episodes 2 and episodes 3, and it was about that war, the war between the separatists and the Republic. And so that was your main thing. Everybody had that one mission, that one goal. They wanted to win the war. So it was kind of like a World War II show where you got a different company every couple of episodes or everything like that, but you had like one captain that you stayed with most of the time. And so I would love to do that with Star Trek, where I don't know, I don't think you'd need a war, but I don't know, like you could have a specific period. You could do anything you wanted, but like you'd have a specific period of time where, let's say it's, I guess just for the sake of the rationale, like I don't say you. I'm saying you don't have to do a war, but just for the sake of comparison, let's say you did the Dominion War in Star Trek.
That was the first thing that came to mind.
Like,
That or Wolf 359.
Ooh, well, Wolf 359 was an engagement that was pretty quick.
Right, which is why the Dominion War kind of stood out as the more ongoing thing. And there's more diamonds in the rough I think you could mine from that.
100%. And again, I'm not saying that Star Trek has to be about war. Obviously, it's not. But just, again, for the sake of comparison, you take the Dominion War, like it goes on for a couple of years, and everybody's involved. You have the Federation, you have the Cardassians, you have the Romulans, you have the Klingons, you have the people I'm not thinking of right now. But like you have all these different
the
systems.
Founders, the Vorta.
Yes, yeah, all those people. And the Breen is what the race I was thinking of.
Oh, okay, uh-huh.
So you have all these people, and you can do their stories. It doesn't have to be a Federation story every single week. You could have a Klingon story, a Romulan story. And even within the Federation, you could have the Enterprise E. You could have DS9. You could have the Defiant. You could even have, ships we'd never even heard of in the Federation. You can have Picard and Riker and Sisko and Kira and Dax, and you can have anybody that you'd want in these stories, and you could even do it today with those voice actors.
Yes, because they're still here, and that's the one catch maybe to an animated series is we do need people to do the voices. But that would be kind of cool, and what might be fun to play around with from different perspectives is each story coming from a different angle, but from the same kind of event. Mm-hmm. How did everybody see it differently?
I love that stuff. I love the multiple angle areas in stories, because every once in a while TV shows will do that where it's just like, okay, now this is how this character saw that, and this is how this character saw that.
Right. So you think you know the story because you watched it once, but then you get a completely different perspective with the second part. And you realize, oh, there's more to this that I did not know. And so you go on to the next one and another. And that gives you kind of the 360 view, that nothing is quite as it appears.
Right. And I think that kind of CGI design, that CGI style would really lend itself to Star Trek, specifically in a Dominion War type setting, because it's action, it's ships, it's lasers, and everything like that. But you wouldn't have to necessarily do it that way. I mean, like, you could do something inventive and fun with a non-warlike story, absolutely.
Sure. Yeah, another thing that came to mind when animation, hit my brain was, what if we did a fun pack? Meaning, you do single episodes, but with different crews, and these are the classic crews. So you have an original 1701, no bloody A, B, C, or D mission, a la animated series. Then you go on to a Picard mission. You go on to having some animated Voyager. Now, the problem is getting voices for everybody, and not everybody is with us anymore, unfortunately. But it's a new adventure every single time, and you don't know what you're going to get. And that's the fun of it. And it's just a short little adventure, a half hour.
Okay, so you're talking about like a half-hour show. Now, what kind of animation style would you envision this in?
That's a good question, because stylistically, you could maybe even vary it from show to show if you had people invested in that enough. Or if you wanted to translate it from one to the other, I don't have anything particular in mind as far as that goes. I would say, hey, you're a talented artist. Pitch me a couple of ideas and then we'll pick one.
I think I see this as more of, I think this would be fun for like a more YouTube short series.
Okay,
think-
something like that, but you know what? Maybe that's something CBS would be willing to do, is maybe throwing the people who are not subscribed yet a bone, saying, you can find these on YouTube. Check it out. If you like it, there's more where that came from.
I'm seeing like something like 15 minutes or 10 minutes. And I like the idea of like the original crews. Like, okay, you get a TOS story, TNG story, Deep Space Nine, Enterprise, Voyager, that kind of thing. And then they just kind of cycle through every once in a while. So it's like, like little one-offs that don't really, it's not, no characters are going to die. Like no story is going to be 100% altered. It's really just an addition to what we already know and love.
Yeah. Sort of like how Short Treks is just like a little moment in time, a little cutesy story.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not this long, profound mission. It's just a little thing, but it's fun because it's the crews that we know and love, and it doesn't need to be a massive, huge thing.
One thing that I would really like to see, and this is sad because I know it'll never happen, but this is our fantasy world where, you know, there's an animation wing.
That's right.
I would love to see a series of. Let me rephrase. I would love to see something like the Animatrix.
Okay.
Do you remember when that came out?
I never watched it.
Okay, the Animatrix was feature length, but it was a series of vignettes. Like it was a series of smaller stories, put together to make 2 hours or 90 minutes, however long it was. I can't remember. And some was CGI animation, some was traditional 2D, some was anime, like Japanese influenced.
Ooh.
And the style was different from section to section, and it had different director, different writer, different team on each section. And it was all based within the Matrix world, the Matrix universe. And some, like, I think one involved, you know, like Neo and Trinity and Morpheus, but only at the tail end. And it gave you some backstory to some characters, but it was free to be incredibly dramatic, incredibly violent, and just very morose at times, and it said something about humanity. I would love to see something like this for Star Trek. Now, I would not want an entire show like this. I would not want something. I would not want something that's incredibly morose, violent, and you know, like grotesque for a season of television. Not at all. But
that would be too much. That would be depressing.
Yeah, I agree. And you don't want Star Trek to be depressing. But in the realms of artistic expression and, you know, looking to see like what it means to be human, or even beyond that, where you have a Klingon who is on the home world, say it's like centuries ago, okay? And there's a Klingon on the home world, and he's in a bloody battle. He's just like slaughtering people left and right with batleth. And then he goes back to his home and he doesn't want to do it anymore. He's like, I don't want to be a warrior, but he's considered one of the best warriors. He's like, I don't want to do this. I want to do something else. What does it mean to be a Klingon when you're not a warrior in a warrior culture? And I think that could lend itself to some very interesting types of 2D animation that, like, I want to see stuff that you would normally just see in like an art film for this kind of thing, but just within the Star Trek universe. Like, find an artist who's really great, find a director who's really great, and just say like, go have fun, go get crazy, because it's just a one-off. If you don't like it, then whatever, you don't like it.
Right. Then move on. But yeah, giving it one shot just to see what the response might be could be a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
And right now I'm envisioning Klingons, but anime style, and I'm intrigued.
Right? Yeah, it's something like that I think would be a lot of fun, and you could even ground it where it doesn't have to be in space. It doesn't have to be a space battle.
Right.
But
I mean, it could be on Kronos.
Yeah, it could be on Kronos, or you get some sort of really intimate storytelling where maybe we do like a World War III story that ends with First Contact.
Oh, yeah. Or you could even do a story with Khan and his super soldiers.
Yes, like yeah, you could absolutely do that. And like immediately what popped into my head was, what if we showed the journey of the missile that was to become the Phoenix in First Contact?
Ooh. Oh, that would be an amazing story. Yes.
So we see it like we see people mine the steel, we see people mine the metal and take it out of the ground, ship it to where it needs to go, ship it to a factory. People are pounding out the metal, shaping the casing for the missile. People get the radioactive material, they're putting it together. They almost use it like 3 or 4 times. Like they think they're going to use it. They open up, like people are attacking. They keep thinking like, okay, is the president going to ask us to do it today? Is the president going to ask us to do it today? And they just don't know. And like you see the finger over the button. Maybe there's no talking, like there's no dialogue. It's all just sound effects and noises and everything like that. And then eventually we see Zephram Cochrane come across it, and he and Lily are hollowing it out, putting in a cockpit. She's scrounging for metal to make that cockpit, and then they make their first warp flight, and then it ends with the handshake. And like just off the top of my head, I mean, that would be super entertaining, I think.
It would. I'm intrigued by the lack of dialogue because that's not how I envisioned it in my head, where that would kind of help set the mood. What are people thinking? How are they feeling as these events go on? You could potentially convey the tension of the war, how things are escalating at that time as they're building the Phoenix. And then when tensions are really high and maybe they're going to launch and maybe they're not. And are they going to do it today, like you were saying? Mm-hmm. And then only to have the war end finally, and then it's abandoned. And you're almost sad for the Phoenix until Zephram Cochrane snatches it up and says, no, we're going to turn you into a ship. And then, you know, in your mind as a viewer, you're maybe thinking, oh, what is this? I mean, we know who he is, but, you know.
Right.
Yeah, so then we see him and Lily doing their work on it, and then off into space they go, and oh my gosh, that would be a beautiful story. Because then you could transform it from destruction to hope. Star Trek.
That is Star Trek. That is like, you see the entire life cycle of something like that, where it comes from the Earth. It's very Terran. It's very us. We make it. We built it for protection, and it was supposed to be an instrument of war, and then we turn it into an instrument of peace. And
yes,
that is Star Trek. That is humanity. And just while we were talking, I thought about another thing that would be really great.
Oh, do tell.
As an animated short, like great for 2D animation, something artistic, something that's out there. Something that's like very emo, writing in a journal, like sweeping the hair to the side. So in the episode of Enterprise Carbon Creek, there is a Vulcan who, like, the Vulcans crash land in, I think, the 50s.
The 50s.
And that was actually first contact for them, between Vulcans and humans.
Yes.
It didn't happen after World War III. It happened just after World War II. And there's one Vulcan who decides not to go back to his home planet, not to go back with his people. He wants to stay behind. He's like, I want to explore humanity. I want to see what's going on. But he wanted to stay behind and explore humanity. And so I want to see his journey. I want to see him leave Carbon Creek, Pennsylvania, I think. I want to see him leave and just travel the U.S., just like backpack through the U.S. and just see all the sights, see all the sounds, meet new interesting people. And then, of course, go to other countries, and maybe he has a family. We don't know if he has kids. Maybe he decides not to have kids, to not tamper with the gene pool.
I think that would be logical, correct? Because
I think that would be logical, yeah.
Yeah. He's a Vulcan,
but what if he falls
and that would blow his cover pretty hardcore, don't you think?
Yes, but what if he falls in love with someone? You know, like, what if he has this... You know, like, what if he has a spouse, and then that's a point of contention where they're just like, okay, it's not responsible for me to have children. What if we adopt? Or what if they don't have children? They decide, or it's just a romance, and like maybe he sees, like, that's a point of drama where, because he lives a long time, he sees his spouse die of old age, and he has to continue to live on.
Yeah, or what if he does fall in love but realizes that even that much would probably be too much?
Right. And then
so he can't let himself do it.
I want to see him die as well, and then someone find the bones and just go like, what is this? Like, what is going on?
Cue the conspiracy theories.
Right. I would love, absolutely freaking love to see that in that kind of form, because we have no idea what happened, and so there would be no contradiction of canon, and it would just be accenting the story, and we can retcon so much.
That could be fun. That could be interesting. Sure.
I feel like these kinds of stories really lend themselves to animation because they can be short, they could be long, they could be without dialogue, they can be with dialogue, and these kind of explorations are fun for the fans, and they're also interesting stories for non-fans, and they don't take a lot of investment
Yeah.
from CBS or the fans themselves.
Right, because it's not an ongoing series. We already know we're getting some of that. So I love the exploration of details, and this is kind of the perfect format to help make that happen.
Yeah, you can explore stuff that we already know, or we can explore stuff we haven't seen yet.
Right, right. And even for those of us, like a lot of these stories that we've come up with, we know the details of. But I feel like as a new viewer, you can get enough context to enjoy it on its own. You could go back, see what you've missed, and then come back to it and learn even more. But that's kind of the joy of that, is it's accessible.
Yes, very much so. And the time commitment. Like, people were just, like Paul Rudd's show, Living With Yourself, came out on Netflix, and it's only 8 episodes, and they're only like 25 minutes each. And so my wife and I were like, okay, well, let's give this a shot. I mean, even if it's just okay, it's something to watch because we know there's an end in sight. Like, we can get this done in 2 days or 2 nights, if we wanted to. And Paul Rudd was actually pitching that on Conan, saying like, oh yeah, no, it's not that big of a time commitment, like, because he said he's like, oh, Game of Thrones, I'm sure is one of the greatest TV shows ever. I haven't seen a single episode because what am I supposed to do with 8 seasons and like 10 episodes a season? And like there's other shows like MASH that had like 15 billion seasons and 30 episodes a seasons and everything like that.
Yeah.
It's a huge time commitment. It's daunting. It's insane. And Conan actually said something that we say all the time as Star Trek fans that just doesn't fly today anymore. It just does not work today, where people will, like, what he said was, he's like, oh yeah, people will come to me and say, oh yeah, season 1 and season 2 are kind of slow. It really doesn't start to pick up until season 3. So you just kind of have to wait it out. And he's like, that's like 25 hours worth of material that I have to watch before it starts to get good.
And a lot of us don't have time for that anymore.
Right. And nor the interest. Like, imagine pitching Next Generation today to someone who's not a Star Trek fan, but they're a completist, and you say like, okay, yeah, it doesn't start to really get good until season 3. They're going to go, well, how many episodes? Is it like 6 episodes, 8 episodes, 10 episodes? Don't tell me it's 13 episodes. And they're like, no, it's actually 25. They're like, oh, go screw yourself. No, I'm not going to watch that.
Right. Ain't nobody got time for that. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Things really have changed in that respect. We're so saturated with content, and it's good content. And there's just not enough time in the day. And we were just talking last week about how difficult it is to sit down and actually watch a show. I think a lot of people do what I did when I was working from home, and I would put something on and then I'd be halfway paying attention to it while I'm doing something else, because that was the only way I was going to get like anything watched.
I don't do that.
You don't?
Like, I will do that with stuff that I've already seen 1,000 times.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah.
But I won't do, if I've never seen it before, I won't do that. Like, I won't do laundry. I won't like play on my phone. I won't go do stuff around the house. Like, if there's something new, then I'm going to sit down and watch it. And if I don't have the time to sit down and watch it, then I'm not going to watch it.
Okay.
Because
yeah,
I want to consume stories. I don't want to just consume media.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's a good distinction. There are certain shows that I actually will sit down and critically watch because they're that good. But if I'm just superficially into something, whatever. You know? If I can just hear it and then occasionally peek and see what's happening on screen and that's enough, well, so be it. But I'm, it's getting the level of attention that I can give to it at that time. That's what it deserves. It's a tough thing that in this day and age we're spoiled by the amount of content out there.
We really are. We have so much at our fingertips, and it's just amazing to me because people constantly complain about new streaming services popping up. And
Yeah, well, it's just, you got to pay $5.99 for all of them, each one.
yeah, and that's the thing though, is that like, and people like, if you guys follow me online, you know that I talk about this a lot. But think about what you're complaining about. You're complaining about more choices. You are complaining about more stories and more content and more media. Nobody's telling you, there's no government mandate that says you have to pay for this media service. No tax man is saying, did you pay for your taxes? Okay, I see that you did. Did you pay for HBO Max that's coming up? Well, no. Well, okay, that's a penalty right there. No, you get to choose, and you get to do it on a monthly basis.
Right. Yeah, I honestly feel like the complaint is more about having too much choice.
And that is an embarrassment of riches.
It is. And really, I think there is too much out there right now. It's hard to have a focus because of how much good content is out there across so many services. And yes, if you want little bits of each one and you're bothered by the fact that maybe you have a month of HBO, you have a month of Hulu, what have you, I understand that's a pain in the butt. But like you're saying, put it into perspective. Think about the days when, if you didn't have cable, you had 3 freaking channels.
Yeah, like that's the difference here, is that like we're going from like just having TV over the air to having cable. That's what's going on right now. And like someone tabulated all of the streaming services that are coming out and are out right now. If you paid for all of them, like without commercials, so like the premium plans, it would still be less than the cost of a cable package.
Oh, okay. I have not done that math yet, so that's good to know. Just because I know, so many people cut out cable because Netflix and Hulu, well, that took care of your entertainment for a while. Now we've got so many services. I wonder if you did every single one of them, how would it add up? Okay, now you answered my question.
It was something like $90 a month. It was something like that.
I mean, that is a lot for your entertainment, but if that's what you do for your kicks, consider that the price of a ticket to any concert or sporting event is probably going to be in the triple digits for something really big.
Well, my parents and in-laws, they pay $150, if not more, per month just for cable.
Really? They're getting ripped off.
Yes, they are, because cable is a ripoff, and it's just a collection of 24/7 streams that you have to either DVR or catch into at the right time. And with streaming services, it's all on demand. And they don't put you into a 2-year contract. You can just do it via month. And like, do I want the new Dune show to be on HBO Max, something that I don't currently have? Of course not. But if I want to watch it, then I'll just try it out for a month, or I'll wait till it's over and then binge watch it. Not everything that comes out we have to watch. Not everything is for us, and not everything we have to be okay with the idea that we're not watching everything the moment that it drops.
This is a big problem, right? Because people will spoil it incessantly on Twitter or Facebook or wherever you are on social media. We have that immediacy bias. We're so used to it anymore. It used to not be like this even just a few short years ago.
Right. It really didn't. And I think I know I'm complaining.
You're on a rant here, but I love it. Keep going.
I am on a rant because it's just, I know I may sound like I'm holier than thou, and I know that people are just like, well, I don't have the money, I don't have this. And I'm like, I get it. I completely understand. There's tons of things that I don't have the money for that I want, and so I don't get them. I don't buy them.
Yeah, you don't have to have it all.
You don't have to have it all. It's just like it's just like growing up, where okay, so like I grew up with over-the-air television, and then one day when I was older, my dad's like, okay, we can afford cable. We're gonna get cable. And I'm like, okay, well, are we going to get like HBO and Showtime? And he's like, no, go screw yourself. Why would I do that? That's an extra so-and-so a month. Did I go to him and say like, but I need to watch my shows. I need to watch this. These 5 things came out this month. And he's like, no, just deal. Did I go on, well, mainly because online didn't exist, but did I go online and say, how dare you, HBO, put your show on your own network instead of making it free to the world? Why would they do that? Why would I complain about that happening? It's just like, why would we say like, okay, well, this show is coming out on HBO Max. This show is coming out on Showtime. This show is coming out on Hulu, whatever. This show's coming out on Apple Plus. And people are just like, oh, not another streaming service. When I hear that, what I hear is, oh, not more stuff that I have the ability to consume if I want to.
Right. Oh, darn, more things I'm interested in. Yeah. It's a lot, and it is, of course they're going to produce good content. That's the thing now, is the studios get to produce good quality content in hopes that you will give them a little bit of money their way. That's their job.
Exactly. The thing for me though, like I know that we've been talking a lot about streaming and paying for a service, and the one thing that we haven't brought up, and by design, is Star Trek on CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Now, you've heard us defend this decision, and I will defend this decision. I think like CBS wants to make money, and they want to use Star Trek as the vehicle to drive CBS All Access, and that's the sole reason why I subscribe to CBS All Access when those shows are out, like when Discovery is out. That's the only time that I subscribe to CBS All Access. Now, like when I was complaining early on during this announcement, my complaint, and this is what a lot of people misconstrued, my complaint was not that I would have to pay for Star Trek. I'll gladly pay for Star Trek.
Yeah.
Easily. It's Star Trek. We go to Las Vegas. We spend thousands of dollars on merchandise and cons and autographs and
Right.
meeting people. Like, we have no right to complain about paying for Star Trek. None of us do. And so the thing that I didn't like was, it's like, yeah, but people were like, like the international audience outside of the US, they get it on Netflix. And I'm like, oh, that sucks that you get it on Netflix and we have to get it on CBS All Access. And they said like, well, what are you complaining about? We have to pay for Netflix. And I was like, yeah, your dollar that goes towards Netflix gets you hundreds of shows, like hundreds and hundreds of shows and
Yes.
hundreds of movies and tons of great material that you get to watch. We get Star Trek Discovery, and essentially that's it. Like, yeah, they have other things on there, but overall, really, what you're paying for is
That's
for Star
our
Trek
primary
Discovery.
reason. Right. And if we could get it on Netflix, Netflix is what, $10.99 a month now? And you're getting all of that other stuff along with it. Yeah, I get the complaint, but there's also a lot of complication in terms of rights issues internationally and what have you.
Totally.
Yeah, the details of which I don't even fully understand, so I don't want to say too much because it's going to be a bunch of crap. But, at the end of the day, it's still Star Trek. I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to gladly give them my money. End of story. That's kind of where it begins and ends for me. Let them figure out all those other details.
That is totally exactly what I'm saying. Like 100%. Like that was my main complaint. But here's the thing that doesn't make any sense. Like my lizard brain is just like, eh. Like if you told me I had to pay that much for like an iTunes subscription, like where like I just purchase it and then I own those episodes, but I don't get access to any other things. The exact same amount of what I pay for CBS All Access.
Yeah.
Like for 4 or 5 months or however long it's out. So that's $40. Say that it came out on iTunes and it's just like, oh, it's Star Trek Discovery, $40. Then you own the show, but that's all that you're getting. You're not getting anything else. You're not getting any other CBS show that's on CBS All Access. I'd be like, that's a good deal. $40 for a Star Trek show? Sure. Boom. Bang. Done. That doesn't make any sense. Why would that be okay?
No, it doesn't. Especially when you can watch The Twilight Zone on CBS All Access. Go watch it.
But that's the kind of thing that I'm talking about, is that it's
perspective.
It's perspective. It's all perspective. And I'm sure I'm making some people angry. And I'm not trying to make people angry. I'm really not. I'm really not trying to make people angry. And if I did, I really do apologize, because I'm sure you have some sort of reason. But if money is an issue, then that's fine, because this is not the only thing that, like, this is not tipping you over the scales. If money is an issue for you, there's tons of things that you don't go out and buy. Money's an issue for everybody. Every single person has an issue with money if you're not a millionaire or a billionaire. Yeah. And so, like, there are tons of things that I want to enjoy for entertainment purposes, and that is what Star Trek is. It's not a right. It's not a duty. It's an entertainment choice.
Right. And you know what? You as the consumer have the right to pick and choose. I think maybe that's how we're bottom lining it, is with this oversaturation, you do have to pick and choose just by default, because there's just simply too much. So I think that's where a lot of people are complaining, is in this cornucopia of entertainment, it's too much. We're overwhelmed. We can't possibly get to it all, and we're boggled. Like, what do? I can't do all of this. I don't want to pay for all these things, and I don't have enough time to watch it all. What do I do? Well, you take a deep breath, and you open a book. If you just can't handle it, go watch.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
You had
We're
me until
bookending here.
that
We're
moment.
bookending.
No, you had me until that moment where it's just like, yeah, Shar, go for it. Yeah, and then you pull out that whole pretentious argument of like, pull out a book.
No. We started with books. We're going to end with books because you know what? Books are beautiful. And you know what? We watch so much on screens anymore anyway. If it's too much, you have the right to choose nothing at all. Do something else.
See, okay, that I would have been with you if you said that, or if you said, if you like nothing at all, or if you said, go to your local library. If money is an issue,
go to the library.
Go to the library. You can get a book, you can get a comic book, you can get an audiobook, you can get a movie, you can get a TV show, you can get tons of encyclopedias. You have access to computers. You have support your local library. Go to your local library. Utilize your local library. If you're within the city limits and you pay taxes, go to your local library. Have fun with it because that is quote unquote free because you're already paying for it.
Right.
And so
you might as well use it.
Go there.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's wrap up the show with that. Support your local library, clear your head, and enjoy what you've got.
There you go. All right, folks, thank you so much. That was our episode. It kind of took a few twists and turns. We started with some unauthorized biography of Janeway. Then we talked about what animation projects we'd like to see. And then we had a lot of ranting about streaming and choices and consumer responsibility. And then ended with support your local library. I think if anything, out of all this entire episode, if we could drill 1 point home, support your local library, support your local librarians.
Absolutely. I hope you enjoyed this medley. We really did kind of do the fun pack of Punch It today.
So please go to thenerdparty.com for everything that you could possibly need. We got shows coming to you every single day of the week, and we got something for everybody. Star Trek, Star Wars, Harry Potter, Babylon 5, Doctor Who, movies, TV, everything. And also, if you want to contact us, go to thenerdparty.com/contact, select Punch It, fill out the form, and it'll send us an email. You can let us know if you agree with us or if you completely disagree. Because I'm sure we said a lot of things today that a lot of people are just like, no, screw you, Tristan. I don't want this streaming service because of XYZ. That's totally cool. I want to hear it. Be respectful, and we'll be respectful back. You can also find us on social media all over the place. We're on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Just search The Nerd Party. You'll find us there. And next week, are we going to rant? Are we not? Who knows? Tune in to find out because whatever it is, we have no idea because whatever it is, we're going to be punching it.
Ready for warp, sir. Let's punch it.
Join the revolution. Join the Nerd Party.